Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you've never been here before. So in this video, I am going to be talking about the Natasha Denona Eyeshadow Palette 5, and this is in the number 4. So just a little bit about the brand. Natasha Denona is a self-taught makeup artist. She was a former model and turned makeup artist, and she found when she was on the job she was mixing and making a lot of her own products, so she decided to come up with a line herself. So Natasha Denona is known very well in the beauty community. She's known for having good quality products, and I didn't own anything of hers in the collection, so I was really curious to try. Sephora, sneaky Sephora, sent me $15 to spend, and I had a few things sitting in my cart for quite some time, so I decided to treat myself to one of them. So I settled on the number 4 palette in her eyeshadow 5 palette collection. She does have palettes that have 5 shadows, 10 shadows, and bigger palettes. I'm not sure how many shadows that they have, but they are quite more expensive. So this palette and these palettes retail for $61 Canadian. You get 5 shadows in here, and they are 2.5 grams each. That is quite the hefty price tag. That's probably why it's taken me so long to actually go out and spend the money on it, but because they were giving me $15 off, I decided to give it a shot. I thought the eyeshadow 5 palette, I keep on calling it the eyeshadow 5 palette, but it's the eyeshadow palette 5. I thought that that would be a good place to start, just to kind of give me a little taste of her shadows and what's in her makeup collection. So here are my thoughts on it. On first swatch, finger swatch, they swatch beautifully. The formula is so buttery, it almost feels like velvet. It is a texture shadow that I have never tried before, so that was really intriguing to me. Because they are so buttery, I was really curious to see how they were actually going to brush swatch. I know on her site and on the Sephora site, it does actually suggest to use the shadows with your fingers, which I know a lot of makeup artists do, but for this video, I wanted to use makeup brushes just because most people, the average consumer, probably will use brushes. So my thoughts on packaging. I do like the sleek, simplistic design. I like that it's plastic because it's easy to clean. However, I do think that the plastic is probably not as durable as I was expecting for the price. I can see this cracking quite easily. I do like that the cover is clear because this way you can see what shadows are in it. And if you have a few of these palettes, then you can grab one quite easily and know exactly what you're getting. Inside, there is a spot for a brush, but there is no brush included with this palette. I have mixed feelings on this because I can understand, but then I kind of like am about it. Reason is, it's nice when it comes with a brush because then you can really take it and go. But the second part of me is just kind of like, well, how often do I actually use the brushes included with these eyeshadow palettes? This way they're giving you the option that if you want to take one of your brushes, then you can put it in the palette and kind of throw it in your bag and go. So I can kind of see where they're going with that, but for the price, you would really think that they would have thrown a brush in there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Also, if you look closely in the top corner here, there is an area that you can actually depot these shadows. So it would make it easier to pop the shadows out of this palette. If you had a big Z palette or whatever, then you could take them out and put them in there. I would be kind of worried because these shadows are actually quite expensive, and I'd just be worried to kind of F them up. Mind my language, but that's just kind of how I feel about that. But for a makeup artist, perhaps that's something that they would be interested in. Natasha Denona shadows are made in Italy. They're cruelty-free. They're not tested on animals, which I really appreciate. In her collection, I think there are 12 different eyeshadow palette 5s that you can get. Obviously, they're all different. They all have different finishes. In this particular palette, there are 4 metallics and 1 matte. I thought of all the palettes in the collection, I would probably get most use out of this because the colors in here are sort of timeless and always kind of on trend. I did create this makeup look for this video for a little demo and tutorial if you guys are interested, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And let's just get into the demo. I'm gonna start by priming my lids using this Essence eyelid primer. Then I'm just gonna pick up a bit of Anastasia's Soft Peach to go over my lid to help things blend easier after applying an eye primer, because an eye primer's job is to make things stick to it. So if you don't apply a base shadow, sometimes it's more difficult to blend out shadows because the eye primer is just doing its job. So this will help make things smoother. Now I have no idea what I'm gonna do here. I think I'm just gonna pick up a bit of the matte brown shade. I'm gonna pick up some of that rusty metallic color with, oh, I didn't say what brush I was using. So I went in with a precision smudge brush from Sephora, and I'm gonna use this exact same brush, and I'm just gonna go on the outer V with it. Just gonna take a little blending brush and just kind of blend things out just a little bit. Now I'm going to go in with that goldy shade using a MAC paddle brush, a MAC 247, and I'm just gonna pat it on next to the rust color, just keeping it on my lid. Flip that paddle brush over, and I'm gonna pick up some of that like champagne taupey color, and I'm gonna pat it next to the gold. And then I'm gonna pick up some of that stark white color, and I'm going to go in the inner corner with that. And I'm using a Vasanti flat paddle brush for this. And I'm going to go into my lower lash line with some of that matte brown first. And a little bit of that rust color on the outer edge. So yeah, as you can see, there is a bit of fallout. So I already did my foundation, concealer, and all that. So in hindsight, probably should have waited, but this way you can really see that there is quite a bit of fallout, but not as bad as I was expecting actually, because the formula is very soft and buttery. So I am just going to go pop on some mascara and put a little bit of liner in my lower lash line, and I'll be back. So my final thoughts on this palette are, yes, I think it is worth the buy. Would I go out and buy her big eyeshadow palette that is a couple of $100s? I don't know, I would have to think really, really hard about it because it is so expensive. Even though the texture and the formula of this is quite unique and obviously of good quality, you probably could find good dupes for this in a lot of other eyeshadow palettes. I am very glad that I picked this up. I'm excited to continue to use this in the future. I think that this is gonna be quite versatile, and even though there's probably only so many looks I can create from this one palette, I have a feeling that I am going to be reaching for this palette quite often for certain colors. Do you guys own any Natasha Denona products? Please let me know in the comments down below, and also while you're at it, could you please give this video a thumbs up? It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, so if I get more likes or even dislikes, then I show up in other people's suggested videos to watch and such, so it would really help me out. And if you're not already, I would sure appreciate it if you subscribed and joined the fam. My social media handles are at Keeksta89 for Instagram and Twitter, but I will leave all the links to that down below in the drop down bar. If you guys are curious what makeup I'm wearing on my whole face, then I will also leave that all down in the drop down bar, but I'm sure that I will do a dedicated Instagram post to this look if you guys want to know. So as always guys, I thank you so much for watching. Mwah. Love ya. Bye.